Okay.
Let me get this.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Let's
You
cheers.
absolutely love a cheers. I'm cutting this out. We haven't started yet.
Oh, it's so fun. Let's start it with a clink and you can zoom into it.
Cool. R.I.P. headphone users.
Yeah, sorry to all the headphone users out there.
Okay. It is episode 10.
Wow, I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah.
Episode 10.
That's actually quite funny. We've done 10 episodes of this podcast.
I'm enjoying it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I love doing it. And I
love people asking us questions.
Oh, mate, me too.
It's leveled up the pod, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it doesn't have to be all about us. It's like, let's talk to everyone and let's all be in it together.
It's like, what I want people to like about us is like our thoughts about things and the way that we like approach situations. So it's like, it doesn't need to be all about us. We can totally just like do that about other people. And if people like that, then perfect. The plan worked.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's so funny, like having to be like, just having to like back yourself to like
I know.
be
It's quite
someone
cringe,
that people want to listen to.
Oh God, I can't think
So
about
cringe.
it too much.
But also, like, other side of that is like, fucking back yourself.
And I
just don't want to sound like a twat, you know.
But it's a nice thing for us to do together. I enjoy like spending time with you and doing it.
100%.
Also, funny that we're saying it's not about us. This episode actually is about you.
Sure.
We're going to start the episode like we did about me a few ones back.
Yeah.
And talk about, like, get to know you a bit more.
Get to know me a little bit.
Is that okay?
Because I've been the elusive character.
You're mysterious.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. So let's start there, shall we?
Yeah, shall we? Is there anything else that you want to touch on that's happened this week, or like anything fun? Anything to note? I like just doing a little roundup.
I know.
And like
it kind of, my mind goes blank of like what's actually been happening.
Yeah. It's been pretty chill since last week, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we actually only recorded the last podcast on Sunday,
I know,
so it's only like 4
nothing's
days.
really happened. That's what happens when you miss the deadline, baby.
Yeah.
We get it wrong. Frida's a toy. Frida's here with us, but you can't see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed the deadline.
I would like to say, my haircut looks so dead in the last episode.
Yeah.
I just cut it myself because I have these thoughts where I'm just like, I should get a haircut. And it's like, if I can't get a haircut right then because it's 9 o'clock at night.
You haven't organised it.
Then I just will cut it myself.
I know.
Mainly the haircut thing is like, that situation really only applies to like that. I just at some point I'll just go, I need a haircut. And if I can't book in that day, then I'll be just cutting it myself. So I think it's fine.
Okay.
So
I don't even think it looks bad, but let's air that out. Yeah.
I thought it was fine, and then I looked at like an hour-long podcast of
like,
just the side of my head, and was like, "Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't quite do as good a job at blending that in as I thought."
I thought I looked rubbish on the last one because I was wearing a tracksuit. You know what? Like, I'm so casual with doing this pod, and then all the cut downs happen, and the next thing you know, it's like
it's all over Instagram.
It's all over Gram, and it's like, why am I wearing purple tracksuit bottoms? It's quite like no. So
yeah, but we are trying to be real, aren't we?
I mean, we are being real.
Yeah.
Can't look perfect all the time.
I love your dress today.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I got you that.
You got me that.
Where's it from?
House of Sunny.
Oh yeah.
Shout out.
And
I've got glasses. I can see.
Yeah, you got glasses.
Yeah, I was actually my eyesight was very poor, and I don't know if anyone else has had this, but I didn't notice really for most of my life, and then it's quite a boring story, but the optician was just like, how are you functioning? You have such poor eyesight, you can't see the horizon.
Well, yeah, it's weird because like on it like day to day, you would just be like, oh, I can't see. And then we would very quickly just like be very blasé about it.
And like focusing on the telly, I'd be like, I can't really see the telly.
Yeah. And we'd have to have the subtitles really big.
Yeah. And it's like, why? And then I got like really bad headaches, and it started getting worse to the point where I was just like, I can't wait for my optician appointment. And then, I went there, got the glasses, and the woman in the shop was like, how do you feel? And I was like, I honestly can't believe this is how people can see. Like, I feel like I have HD vision.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I've lived all this time without it. So I'm grateful for my glasses at this point.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Quite Pat Butcher vibes, but...
Sorry?
Just, they're quite like intense. It was quite an intense glasses choice to go from none to like gigantic granny glasses. But
yeah.
I'm here for it, and I can see, and there's no better feeling.
Yeah, it's cool. I really rate them. I think they're cool.
Thank you, baby. So let's start with you, shall we?
Sure.
So when did it all begin? Where do you want to start? I'd love to know.
I was born in 1992.
You're 30.
I've just turned 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what did you want to be when you grew up? Like, what's your...
Didn't have any... as a kid, I didn't have any desires to be anything.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah, so interesting. And...
Where do you think this like passion for videography and like photography and stuff's come from? Is what I want to know.
That's a good idea. That's a good point. I mean,
that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
I love that reinforcement.
Idea. I should do videography.
It's a really good idea.
Now I don't know. So I think like I skated when I was a kid, and that's really where like that's pretty much the only thing I did for like. The first like till I was like 14 maybe I just skated. That was like my only hobby, and I think that like when you skate with your friends you want to like feel everyone films each other just to like because it's like a good thing to document. You know,
it's fit being a skater. Sorry, just adding it in. Being a skater when you're young is like fit. Don't you think?
I mean,
skaters in my area were cool.
Yeah, it's so weird because like when I met you, I realised that like lots of the like you think it's cool that I used to skate, whereas like when I was a kid, I thought like absolutely no one thinks this is cool and like I'm a loser. I think I just always have like deferred straight to thinking I'm a loser, you know, and it's only really recently that like. You've backed me so much.
I've been gassing you up so much.
That like now I've become an arsehole and I think I'm really cool.
You're not an arsehole at all, I think.
No.
I just can't believe you didn't. I mean, I just think you're gorge and like such a handsome
it's like
guy.
so funny. Like I really shouldn't let that go to my head because like obviously, well, I'm glad you
think that.
I'm glad you think that. Yeah, but like obviously I should take that with a pinch of salt really because like we're in love. So there's I
hope I don't gas you so much. You're like, oh, actually, I'm really fit. I'm going to go off and like live my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
Okay. No, that's cool. So that's so then from then skating. I have like always filmed stuff. But then like I just did like just filmed skateboarding for the next 20 years and never thought that I like never even like considered doing anything creative for my job. Did like 10 years of like rubbish admin jobs straight out of college.
Very easy to slip into like admin jobs. It's like
lived in Worthing and did that. You know,
Worthing is a Worthing boy. For anyone who knows where we are in the world, you were just down the road and I never even knew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I quite like my roots in Worthing.
It's a sweet.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I was just going to say like it's a sweet place. It's
all right, and like lots of the boys are still in Worthing, but like people are starting to disperse a bit. And I mean, it's funny because like I've only moved down the road.
We're only like a few stops on the train, but it feels it's like such a different vibe. Like it's like small town Worthing, isn't it? Like you've got the school like and everyone knows everybody.
Yeah, completely. But then also I think you have that sort of small town vibe around here Brighton, as well. So it's like it's different for me because I've just like moved here. And like so I have only moved a few miles down the road.
Yeah.
But it does feel like a nice escape and like a like I was going to say rebranding, but it's like I feel like myself. I just feel like I am a bit more like open to more possibilities now that I'm like not stuck in that same place that I grew up in.
Yeah, which is weird because sorry, I was just going to say.
Go on.
Like I live in my hometown. But it's
but the thing is, you've
different.
had a lot of time away from your hometown as well. It's like you're back now.
You couldn't live where you went to school, really, if you hadn't left.
Exactly.
Well, you
like
can,
you were in
but
London
like
for a
it
long
feels
time.
very different, right, for you?
Yeah, for sure. So what were we saying? So then I did like office jobs for ages. And then I got a job doing like social media. And I like really hated it because it was like very stressful. And then I had already at that point I had decided that I wanted to try and pursue like making films as my career. And I was doing like completely like unpaid promo videos for like local companies,
which is
and
what
stuff.
you've got to do, isn't it? Like,
yeah, well, the thing is, I don't know if you have to do that. I would be very surprised if like some of the people that we know now were doing things like that as well. I think there's probably a few ways to get into it. Like Connor went to uni. Yeah. And I don't know if he was making anything prior to that.
But what I mean is like, sorry to interrupt you, is like when you are doing a job and then you decide you want to shift into another thing, you've got to start just doing that thing.
Exactly.
Even before you're getting paid. So if you want to be a videographer, it's like start shooting your weekends. Like just start you've got to like put yourself in that position, I think, before you get offered the job. Otherwise they'll be like, you're interested in video, like why? And then you're just like, and then they're like, what do you shoot? And then you're like, oh, nothing yet, because I have a job. But it's like you should be so passionate that you're like doing it.
That's
do you know what
such a
I
good
mean?
point. Yeah. Okay. So
funny.
yeah, let me go into
a
bit more into that then, because that is what happened.
Yeah, of course.
I just am playing it down, I guess.
You're a go-getter.
I just like got a camera and started filming stuff.
Amazing.
Started filming just like, my life, just taking it to fun places and then editing it and not doing anything with it. And then then like a few people just kind of knew that I like had a camera now. Yeah. And then that was when I started then like making like ads, I guess, just like social media content for tiny businesses. I'm talking like the dude down the road who's made some t-shirts, like wants to film, you know.
Which is, sorry to interrupt, which is great that like we live in a world now because of technology where like you can just be like put a few things up on your Instagram and somebody messages you like, can you make this for me? And it's like, that is connection. Like that's why I think technology is so good and positive for you, because it's like you baby steps to getting up there. It's like one minute you decided you want to film your friend skating, and even if the next step is unpaid, the guys down the road still always asked you. It's like, it's so cool, I think.
Thanks. I think I naturally will like play this down all the time because don't know why.
It's your personality that you do that a bit.
Yeah, I just like think that sort of that journey was like a means to an end, and I kind of always knew that I was like pushing to do like bigger and better stuff, and I still am like pushing to do bigger and better stuff.
Totally.
So anyway, so then I probably was like making videos of films like that for like 2 or 3 years before the place that I was doing social media at, like a job came up for a video person. So I like had enough like previous footage to make a show reel, and then I just like went for it, and like got the job there.
Can I just say something? Interrupt. I think it's so interesting when people like you didn't go to college and study video, like you didn't go to uni and do it, and I think that deserves like a bit of press, because it's like you've just like turned a hobby into something that you enjoy doing, and you've done the other route, which is to build it up slowly, like in the job you already worked in, transitioning into the video department, like you've just kind of manifested it into your job, which completely. Is so, it's really impressive. Like people study, no disrespect to anyone who goes to uni. I did as well, to study my like craft, I guess. But like people go to uni for years to do it, and it's like, but you kind of just jumped forward and just started doing it in your life, in your...
Yeah. So like,
cool.
I think the reason that I did that was like because I truly like believed that if I put in this effort, something good will come of it.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I was gonna say that when I interviewed for that job, I kind of knew that I was being a bit cheeky going for it, right? But I had said to myself, like, if you want this enough, you'll just go for it and do it. And even if you know in your body that you're being cheeky, you still will just give it your all and just get it, and then make it work when you get it.
How amazing is that?
And like, that's what I did. And I felt, and when after I had that interview, that was like one of the first times where I thought, like, that I realized that, like, if you just are yourself and are like really like upfront and confident and like authentic. Know your shit, but are authentic about it, it's like that, especially in like I guess this is mainly just like in jobs, in job interviews.
Yeah.
So
well,
I don't even know.
It
but
applies
I think it does apply.
A lot of things.
But it's like, that's what people like.
Yeah.
People like you just being a nice guy who cares about what they're talking about.
It's so much better than being the guy with all of the qualifications who's like, yeah, I can do this, like whatever, because you're the guy who will feel lucky to get that job. So you'll put your all into it and be probably a better employee, making it up as they go along and learning on the job, than the guy who has studied cameras for 5 years, who doesn't really care because they think they're kind of above it. Got you. Agreed. Completely agree with what you said, yeah, cool. How amazing. So anyway, so now I still have that job, and I'm building a production company. Let's talk about that on the side. I'd love to know, like, tell everybody. I mean, I know the story, but like, tell everyone how that came about with Connor. Like, we haven't even told anyone who Connor is. Yeah, that's true. So Connor's my cousin. Yeah, we have a production company called Cousin. Yeah, he is the cousin, and I knew Connor was making films also in Bristol, and I hadn't seen him for like 10 years. Like, it's a great love story between you two, actually. It's like how you got close again. It's like such a nice, I'm so glad that me and Connor like are close again now, because obviously like we were close when we were kids, but like you are with your cousin, right? Who you see a fair amount. But like, then he just went to uni, or like probably as soon as I was at college, like we just didn't see your lives just go in different directions. Yeah, and exactly. It's like... And then he went to Bristol, and like he was in London for a bit, and we literally, like, maybe I would have said happy birthday to him if I saw that it was his birthday on Facebook. That's so mad, isn't it? And then I think he was still living in Bristol, and he had like seen that I was making films as well, and he had this regular client that he was going out to and need a second camera op for. Asked me to do it, and then that was like the first time that we had worked together. It was one of my first like proper paid jobs. I remember. Did I know you? Yeah. What are you talking about? What, so I knew you when I started working for Connor. Yeah. Babe, we were going out and you were like, my cousin Connor Hall is moving to Brighton, and I was like, I know him. Oh, I must have this a bit wrong then, because I think you're like, dude, who are you? Do I know you? It's like, I've been here for a couple of years, guys. Are you talking about? I feel like I've been doing like
decent paid work for longer than that, but maybe I haven't.
No, we were going out and you were like, Connor's moving to Brighton, we can hang out with him. And I was like, amazing. And then I was like, wow, that's cool that you've got this huge thing in common that you both like doing video. And then you got invited to be on a job with him and you got on so well. And I was like in Brighton waiting for you to come home. Like, I remember when you went and did it.
Fair. Okay, well, maybe I'm like completely...
The timeline
That makes me feel so insecure about telling my story, honestly, because I feel like...
That was like over 3 years ago.
I feel like I haven't done enough to even be explaining my story right now.
Don't feel insecure, sweetheart. We're at the beginning of our journeys.
Well,
here,
yeah, exactly.
Right? You're talking about how you started your company 3 years ago. My company started a year ago.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
We're very, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, but we're very at the beginning. Like,
okay.
I didn't expect this story to be 10 years ago.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know why I did.
Well, we jumped
forward. I'm
just old. Yeah, we've jumped forward quite a lot because you're talking about like starting off, deciding you like video and then starting your production company. There's a huge amount of years in between, but you and Connor and your cousin journey is quite new.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, fair. So then... did that job with Connor, and then very soon after that, he was like, me and Georgia are going to move to Brighton, which I was like so gassed about.
So sick, yeah.
I was, maybe I was still in the flat in Worthing at that point.
I think you just got your flat. You're living on your own in Hove.
Yeah, I think I
also,
just
fun
moved
fact,
there.
me and Lewis lived in flats, literally a road apart, like separately, and it was cute because we were neighbours.
Yeah. That was really cute.
We used to just like walk to each other's houses and be like, morning. And it was like, we spent just the same amount of time in each other's flats.
Yeah.
We were paying for just 2 houses between us.
It was so daft.
So daft.
But anyway, yeah, so...
we loved those flats.
Then... yeah. So anyway, now me and Connor do work together, picking up some like commercials, and clients are getting better.
It kind of just, you met and you did your like first job, and then it kind of just it was a very like natural growth, wasn't it, to decide to start clubbing together instead of doing it separately.
Yeah.
I mean, you still do stuff separately, but
so how it sort of has worked for us is like, if there's a job that is big enough for the two of us to work on, then we do it together.
Yeah.
And if jobs come in and they're just big enough for one person, then it still goes through cousin, but one of us does it and gets paid for it.
So you're like building your portfolio, but just taking it in turns to do whatever comes in.
It's like, it works really well, I think.
Yeah, it's great. I wish I had someone to run mine with. Like, it's great.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think there's probably pluses and minuses, positives and negatives about doing it like in that way. But I do think that we're like building up a foundation to do like good big stuff when it's ready, and I'm like manifesting. Obviously, like it will come at some point.
It's very early stages, and your portfolio's already got like some big boys on there. But what I was going to say was, I love the fact that you have him and he has you. Like every morning you like call each other and you're like, what happened overnight? Like, you're building your empire as a family, which is so sweet.
It's cool to have a family business, I think, isn't it?
And like each day you're both bringing different things to it.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's like if I lay in bed all day, nothing happens, but Connor will ring and be like, oh, this has happened, and add that into the rota. And you're like, oh, cool. Like, it's just nice to have two brains, I think.
For sure.
It's interesting.
So I almost think we've gone so far down the work rabbit hole that I should just finish off the work story. Then I just want to like say a couple of other things,
personal
and then we can
things.
just move on. Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
I've been so all about work.
Well, I think it's interesting, but yeah.
Thanks. So I am still employed by the company that employed me to be a video producer, and on the side I'm running a production company.
You're doing everything,
which is like sometimes hard, sometimes like overwhelming. And I'm kind of just like excited to see where the future goes, And like, obviously, end goal will be that I work for myself. I don't think that's a secret.
No, and it's
like why wouldn't it?
Why would you be building a production company to not work for it full time? Sorry.
Yeah.
We just touched feet. It was romantic. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
you've got all the balls in the air at this point.
It's like you're doing everything's being juggled, and I'm doing all of it. But yeah, so there's like a very difficult dilemma in my head of like, there's obviously, I assume that there are opportunities that I'm missing just purely not being on all the time as a
freelancer, like putting all your eggs in that basket.
Exactly.
But anyone who understands this situation would be like, you're in a great position because you got both. And,
it's so hard to like.
It's so hard to give that up, and
I've
you
got
love
a salary.
What you do.
It's
yeah,
like so hard.
I know.
What like?
How can you give that up? But then,
exactly.
As we always say, and we say to people on this podcast, like, you've got to take risks and let everything catch you or fall. Like, it's got. But I think that will naturally happen, and that decision will naturally be. But at the moment, it's fine, as long as you're not too exhausted by it all.
Do you know what I'm scared about? And we can cut this out or keep it in.
I love that.
And I don't know if I've ever said this to you before, but I'm scared that I'm basically scared that like if we just say what will be, it will get to a point like it will be time and you'll be 6 months pregnant. and I'll be like, okay, well now I don't have a salary anymore, and like, there's a baby coming. Yeah. And it's like, why did I not just either wait or do it earlier than that?
That's
and
a
like,
spicy little comment in there. Do you know what? I agree. It's like, obviously this is personal, but like, we've always got your salary to fall back on if like anything terrible happened, or like I got ill and couldn't work, or no one bought anything from me and like my business just went to pot. Like, we've always got in the back of both of our minds, it's kind of the backbone of like us both having our own businesses. Yeah. But that, I don't know if that's, great for us. It's a lot of pressure for you to do both. And
the trouble is that what that also is like a big barrier in the way of me building my mega empire.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is getting really personal, this episode. It's like we're putting all our cards out on the table.
Yeah, but I mean that's like that's what
I love
it is.
It, yeah.
I
people must have this struggle as well who have a full-time job and want to do their own thing, and when do you leave it? Like,
yeah. So yeah, anyway,
I'm not
I say to my boss a lot, like, I'm not one day just gonna leave.
No,
like, don't
you'll
worry,
be like gracious about it. Yeah, you're not just gonna be like, see ya.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah.
And like, it enriches each other.
Mate, exactly.
You're learning more about your full-time thing, doing your production company, vice versa. It's like, it's all in. It's not like you're doing two different things.
Realistically, I've gained way more skills in my freelance work over the last 3 years than I have in my employed work, and I could have quite easily just have sat there and taken the paycheck and been and not improved at all. So
you're a better employee.
Everyone's winning to some extent. So then also what I want to just talk about is like, we met. And
me and you.
My life changed for the better.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
I know. Everything about our lives changed.
Yeah.
When we met.
Yeah.
Also, we met in COVID, so we couldn't go on any dates. We couldn't go anywhere. We just sat inside, staring at each other.
Yeah.
Like the happiest you could ever be. But it was like we had never been in a restaurant together.
No,
We'd never met in town. It just we were just like in a house all the time, like making dinner at the table. It was like we met and then we just were married, and we were both just like, what should we have for dinner in Sainsbury's?
It was like very
that sounds really boring.
It does sound really boring, but no, it's fine. I think that's important. But I think we're
both romantics, aren't we?
Yeah.
So us meeting and the world being closed was kind of perfect, because we were just like,
yeah, exactly. It was like a real it was a bit intense, and like I think we both knew at the time that it was intense, but it was a really nice way to like fall in love with someone.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, it was. We literally were just walking around an empty town. Everyone was inside, and it was like a really hard time for a lot of people. And us like falling in love was like a bit of a glimmer of hope, of excitement, of like when everything opens up again.
And I think the fact that when everything did open up again, it was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Except like we could go to Chin Chin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We
weren't
were
like
eating out a lot.
Yeah, we weren't. It's interesting when you meet someone and it's like there's nothing else. There's no other distractions. It's not like I'm not sure if I like him, but I like going out for dinner with him. This was like we've literally had nothing to do and we had the best time. So going out for a pizza is just going to be the same.
Yeah, completely.
Which was great.
Well, there was that like, is it love or is it lockdown kind of vibe?
Yeah, people were saying that to us.
Yeah,
which
I know.
is fair. We were like,
yeah, completely fair. But I think like it proved itself to not just be lockdown. Like I would have been like that with you
if we could,
but we would have just gone out for dinner straight away instead of sitting at home for a bit.
Yeah, and also we were like, we're going to go and live in Paris, weren't we? We were like sitting at the kitchen table planning our life to go live in Paris.
I did really want to do that.
Same.
Actually. Then the next lockdown came.
Yeah.
So it just sort of fizzled away that. But yeah. So that's kind of, that's like the story. If you want to hire us, it's cousinfilms.co.uk.
Plug it.
That's like the work story.
It's been interesting. We can I feel like as the pods go on, we can still jump back and hear more about each other, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like your final words of your life.
No, you're
There's
right.
a lot more to say, but I think it's like lovely to hear about your journey because it's so interesting.
Thanks.
Just a guy with a camera, now he's got his own production company.
And now I'm filming these podcasts. Oh, do you know what? Actually, I always think, what are you going to say? Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, cool. I always think, I always like watch these back when I'm editing it and I'm just like, I really didn't try. And like, I hope people don't take the production of the podcast
it's just
as
a pod, like
yeah.
I
Look,
feel
go
like,
on the website if you want to see what I can make.
This isn't the archive. This isn't the. But like,
exactly.
I do think with the pod,
this is very throwaway.
It's just I think if we made the pod like how you do your work, we'd be here all week.
Exactly.
It's just quite long.
I'd need a second guy. Like,
yeah.
I would like.
We need Connor to work for the pod.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It would be a lot. So how long have we been talking for?
35 minutes. So
we have time for one question.
Oh, I think we've got time for a couple.
Whoa, let's go.
Okay, so
let's go.
Thanks again to everyone who's written in. We've got plenty of questions to get through. And I'm going to be in charge of the ones that we talk about.
Okay. You're going to be the reader.
I'm going to be the reader. Okay. This one has got me shook.
Well,
right,
clickbait. Literal clickbait.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. I attend a music school and I have a crush on my guitar teacher. I'm 30, it's not weird. I know he's into me too because of his body language, but I'm assuming there's a lot of policy around student-teacher relationships which is preventing him from doing anything about it.
Wow.
What do you think I could do to initiate something outside of lessons? P.S. We only see each other for 45 minutes once a week and I don't have his number or Instagram. It's so juicy, like I love it.
Oh my god,
I love that.
I love whoever's written in. Thanks for writing in. Right.
Also, like, rate the fact that you have, like, you think it's coming back and he feels the same.
Love that.
You know,
people
just
pick
like,
up vibes.
Yeah,
we're all
yeah,
human.
yeah.
You know if
got
someone fancies you, like. It's so interesting.
So I just think it needs like a cheeky like.
Go on.
And I am the worst. I've never picked up a girl in my life.
This is so not Lewis, but go on. I'd love to hear it.
Do you know what I would do?
Go on, sweetheart.
I would start posting guitar videos on your story.
For God's sake.
And then be like, oh.
Have you seen my story?
Yeah.
No.
No? Then you get the Instagram and then you like chat.
Actually, maybe that is quite a good
I think
idea.
that's a really soft in. And then when you're chatting,
it's
you can
like,
ask if you want to go out for a drink.
What, not in person, you mean on DM?
On DM, yeah, because I think like you chat on DM, then the next time you go in...
It does break down the third wall,
completely.
Insta, because he can... Also, you'll see his profile. Is he in a relationship? Is he not? Did she say that?
No, I don't think so. Also, we don't know if it's a she.
I just imagined it was a she, sorry. did they say that? Because you never know. If you get the Instagram, then you can find out a bit more about their life.
Yeah,
right?
Completely. Yeah. I think Gram is the way to go. But
It's hard to introduce that though. How do you be like, have you seen my Instagram? They're going to be like, obviously not. Like, I don't know what your Instagram is.
I just think, like, can you not use the showing the video of you, like,
practicing?
Yeah, can you not be like this? Oh, like, look, here's me playing guitar on my Instagram.
And they'll be like, oh.
Yeah, and then you're like, if you should follow me. Follow me quickly.
That's quite a good idea, actually.
Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't know what to do, so I like that idea.
Yeah.
Break down the third wall, the fourth wall.
That's like my, to physically do something. That would be my advice.
Okay. I mean, the other option is you just each week you just go up another level with the eye contact and the vibes, and hope that you sort of say like, oh, what's everyone doing after, like, what are you doing after this? You know, like, and you just have a normal conversation in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's more normal.
But it's hard to gauge, and both of you might be thinking about, like, teacher, student thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Let someone know that you're, like, available and you fancy them. It's so tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
I think your idea is good. I think you should do that. Tell us what happens.
Yeah, please. Do that. And yeah, tell us what happens.
Write in the question box what they say. I think that was such a good one.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I mean, if we're just
feel very unprepared, I'm not the best person to ask about that, but... Okay, next.
Okay. I'll do a quick one.
Shall I read one or not?
Nah. We said earlier.
Sorry about that. You didn't like how I read the questions
over
out.
breakfast. I really
You're very gentle with me.
Yeah, I very gently said, "Hey, I had a quick thought about the podcast later."
So rude.
And I said, like, maybe we just like crack through reading the question and then we talk about it after.
Maybe we'll ask the audience what they prefer.
Yeah.
I read them and do a little interjection each time. So I'll be like, so me and my guitar teacher, and then I'll be like, oh, teacher, okay. And I'll like give a comment in between each part. So you read the question slower and you're kind of working your way through the question.
Yeah.
While getting our reaction to each part of it. Whereas Lewis wants to crack through the question and then we say.
It.
So why don't we do a vote? How are we gonna do
sure.
that?
Yeah, do a vote.
How is anyone going to vote? I'm not very good at this.
We'll make it work.
Okay. Next.
All right, very quick one. How did you meet and what first attracted you to one another?
Love this fucking question. You want to go first?
No, you go on, you do it.
Okay. We met on Hinge.
Mm-hmm.
The story's quite funny because I was at like with Hinge when you like want to give up because you're just like, no one's cool. I've come to the end of my algorithm. My Hinge was just drying up. Everyone's a fuck up. And I was actually in a park with my sister and my mum in COVID. And my sister was like, oh, can I play on your Hinge? And I was like, of course. Gave her my phone while we're having a coffee. She's just like, I don't know if it was like a new hand that like the algorithm just like gave her some good ones. And she was like, oh, he's cool and liked you. And then was like, he has a golden retriever and like he's blonde. And I was just like, I just didn't expect anyone for me to be like interested to talk to. And then she showed me the phone and I was like, okay. And then she said something to you. Did she?
Did she?
She said we wrote the first message out together.
Oh, right.
And she was like, hey, or something. I don't know what she said. But anyway, she basically found Lewis on Hinge. And then that night I was in bed and I looked at it and we'd matched and I was like, let's go. And then I messaged him and he messaged me back being like, do you want to know something cringe? And I was like,
I hope there's not any other girls listening to this
you've said the same thing to.
Said exactly the same thing to. I mean, get in the comments.
Mate, if there is, I'll fucking kill them. If there is, it's just jokes. But like, I'll be upset. Anyway, yeah, and he goes, do you want to hear something cringe? And I was like, yeah. And I was waiting there thinking like he's going to say something like, you're the love of my life. And I was like, this boy's so fit. And then he didn't reply. So I messaged him again, which I never do.
Like a day later.
And I was like, have I missed my chance? Like, hello? Like double messaging you here. Yeah. And then you were like, you have really nice eyelashes or something. Something quite shit. And I was like, no, fair. But it was quite observant. I thought that you'd mentioned my eyelashes. It's like they're white. Didn't even know you could see them.
Maybe you had mascara on in one of the photos.
Yeah, and you were like, you have really nice eyelashes. And then you were like, what's your favourite thing in the world? And I was like, that's such a me question, so romantic. And then we wrote a list of all of our favourite things in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you to my sis.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie.
One other thing, can I just
Appreciate
say?
that. Yeah, go on.
Lewis was very blunt on message.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
So blunt. I thought that I was just, he didn't fancy me at all. So that kept me interested.
I did. Yeah. Well, that's good because I really didn't try to be like the bad guy, the blunt guy. So I'm glad that did keep you interested because
I was like, yeah.
Okay.
What's next?
This is juicy too.
Oh, sorry, can we cut this out?
Yeah.
Can we do the one about moving in?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is juicy too.
Okay. Oh God, I'm excited.
My partner of 3 years wants us to move in together. I, on the other hand, don't know whether I ever want to live with the person I love. I like how special it feels when going out to see them, and I feel like I need to have a space that's completely my own. I don't like living with my friends either for similar reasons. She's content with this arrangement for now, but should I try to work towards becoming comfortable living with her? Do you think relationships can work if the couple isn't living together?
Wow. Okay, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good one. There's lots of sides
so
to
much
this, you know.
to say.
Yeah.
My first thought, honestly, don't want to make this more stressful for you, but why? Like, I understand you want your own space. I get that. Like, why don't you want to merge your lives? I think living together, it's not just about being under one roof. It's about what that means and kind of it's like a conjoint. It's like joining your lives, isn't it? With every aspect. So that concerns me a bit as to why you don't want to make that commitment after 3 years. It seems like naturally that would be the next phase. Obviously, everybody's different, and like the modern world, people live apart and are very happy. Just for me, that made me feel like, what's it about there? Why are you not desperate to?
Well, I can tell you.
To move forward with them in that way.
Because they wrote it. They don't like...
they don't like living with other people.
They don't like living with the people that they love.
Interesting.
They feel like they need to have space that's completely their own. I knew that you were going to say that to start with.
Yeah.
And I agree.
That's just my first... there's a lot more to say,
like,
but that's my first layer.
What I'd like to start with is... Firstly, you've asked the wrong people here because we are so far up the other end of the scale of wanting to live with the person that we love that we sit next to each other for 12 hours a day when we're working, and then we go home and we sleep next to each other.
And we sit on the sofa next to each other.
Yeah, it's like...
Go
on.
No, I was just going to interrupt you there and say my next point, which is kind of contradicting what you said, is we do all that, but I completely feel like I have my own space, which is... interesting because I don't feel like living with somebody means you don't get your own space. So we have nights where I say, I'm like, we're not hungry at the same time. I'm eating my dinner on my own because I don't want to eat right now. Like, you do your own thing. I'm on a different schedule, but we live together. So like, I'll go and have a shower. I'll go and sit in the other room and I'll pretend like I'm on my own, even though you're in the other room. We have a lot of alone time, even though we live together. So
we've spoken about this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
I don't know about on the pod, but like about not feeling overwhelmed living with someone.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't have to feel like you're enclosed.
Like you don't have to be entertaining to each other all the time. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that. Like if I feel like I'm shattered after work and I just want to do my own thing, I'll literally say to Lewis, like, I'm going to go and do my own thing. And it's like, you don't have to be on all the time. And that doesn't mean that you didn't have a nice evening together.
Yeah.
It's like you have to kind of rewire your brain to think, even though we live together, I'm on my own clock and I'm going to go and read my book for 2 hours and I'm going to hoover and I'm going to pretend like you're not here.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's like you're still your own person.
Yeah.
We just share a bedroom.
Yeah. And I think it's very easy to think that when you live with somebody, you have to be eating at the same time and that stuff's nice, but it's not realistic to think that you just abandon your old life of living on your own, all your habits and your hobbies and your things that keep you grounded to entertain the other person all the time. It's like, you can't do that. It's impossible. So I totally like want to just air that thought that like, you won't lose that. You will a little bit. But if you have good communication, I think you can still have your own time.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if this person like fears losing that.
Yeah, totally. I did too.
But yeah, you're right. It's you totally can still like be your own person, and like it doesn't have to be super intense, and as long as you're not with someone toxic, it doesn't have to be toxic.
We don't know the situation of maybe their partner is very intense and
toxic.
Well,
because
not toxic,
I'm gonna say, if you're with someone who sounds toxic,
don't
get out.
You can't
of it.
be. Yeah,
just don't.
That's my only worry about this question. We know nothing. We have no context. But
literally nothing.
If you feel like what we've just said is impossible to do because of your partner, you either need to have a very long chat about your boundaries if you are going to move in, or you need to pick another partner because you can't live with someone who's like this all the time. And I've had to stop doing that because it's not realistic.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say about this question is they said the people they love as like a general term. So maybe it's deeper for you, and maybe like in the past it's gone really badly and you're not you're like an insular person who likes to be on their own. And that's who says that you do have to have this construct that we all go by. Maybe you don't. Maybe we're just not an anomaly. Maybe we're the kind of people that want that, and maybe you're not.
Well, exactly. Right? Like, first, like, I mean, do whatever you want to do. Do what makes you happy.
Don't feel pushed. That's not good.
Yeah, no, exactly. And if you can work out a way of being with someone who does want to live together and you don't want to live together, and you can work out a way that works, then make it work.
Yeah.
If you love that person
them and you've been with them for 3 years.
And you want to be with them for the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's so tough because you deserve happiness and what you are comfortable with, and your partner also does. So the person that you're talking about does deserve to be with somebody who wants to live with them as well.
Exactly.
Which is sad, but that's the truth. And I think maybe you don't want that guilt on your shoulders of feeling like you're letting them down by not doing what they want. You've written into us, so it's obviously on your mind. So I'd be very careful of like making sure that you're making decisions that like you feel great in. And just because we've said, oh, we love living together and you can have your own time, you obviously don't want to do that. So I wouldn't feel pushed to do something you don't want to do, right?
Yeah. I agree with that for sure.
It's a very interesting question there.
Yeah,
so we could talk about this all day.
I think like they have specifically said, do we think that there's a way to like get used to that? Like, or they've said like, is it worth trying to become more comfortable with living with the person that you love? What do you think about
that? Is there a way of carrying on the relationship and not moving in? Is that what you mean?
They said...
Because I do think...
They said, she's content with this arrangement for now.
For now.
But should I try to work towards becoming comfortable with living with her?
I think the first thing in what you should do is talk, communication.
Exactly,
I think you have to take this really seriously and sit down and be so open and honest, because if you're not being honest, you're never going to move forward with or without each other. You've got to literally make the other person understand where you're coming from, because for them it might be very triggering and emotional to be like, why don't you want, you don't want to live with me. But it's like, if you just tell them how you truly feel, you can't discredit that. Like, you can say, I'm scared of doing it, I'm worried, I'm anxious, it will set off my routine, I've got my life and I want to stay like this, but how do you feel about, you know, working on this together? Because I do think there is a way of moving forward and maybe rewiring how you feel. I do think that, but I just think it all depends on what your partner's like.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Because it might be
has
hard to talk about it.
It has to be something that you can talk about openly, in great detail. Yeah, completely
and
openly.
work through it together. Because otherwise they're going to be like, you don't love me, you know? It's very easy to go defense mode when actually...
And I think if it's something that they've said she's comfortable with the arrangement for now, but like obviously insinuating that in the future
it's not going to be ideal.
Start talking about it ASAP.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, talk about it. Discuss
what does the next year look like?
Yeah. Completely.
You know, could you talk about what it would be like to live together and what your boundaries are and what meet in the middle? Like, you know, you would live with your partner who really wants to live with you, but you have 2-3 nights a week when, you know, you go out and you go to the gym or you do your own schedule. Maybe you have a shared Google Calendar where you dot in date night, where you eat dinner together and at the table, and the other time, you know, you've just got to lay out your boundaries and what you want it to look like, because you never know, it might not be that far away from what, you know, actually writing it down might not actually be that impossible to reach with her,
that's
with
really true.
Or him.
Because also you have to think like maybe it's not that deep that they want to live with you. Maybe they just want like the security of being under the same roof, being on a joint tenancy agreement.
We always say that, on a joint tenancy agreement.
Maybe
they don't want to sit with you every night and do everything together. Maybe it's just about that commitment, that next level.
Yeah, which I think is fair to want from someone after 3 years.
So have that chat if you can. Be as honest as you can, and then you know where you stand and where you can go from there. You know, they might say, that's not how I want it to look. In which case you've done all you can. Yeah. And also nothing's concrete. This doesn't mean this is how the rest of your life's going to look, but you want your independence, so you still want to go out, you know, see your friends or whatever it is, your non-negotiables. Maybe it's just for the next year or so and your feelings will change. Like, I think they'll appreciate any edging forward and effort from your part to show that you care about it.
I definitely think they should appreciate that anyway.
I mean, they should,
yeah, for sure.
Bless you, because that's a difficult
that's a tough
situation.
But yeah, I completely agree with you in that talking is just the way to get through that, for sure. And like, you want to be with someone that you can have the most honest conversations with.
100%.
So,
and you never know. Things can really get heightened in your brain, but actually when you talk to your partner, they might be like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like, do your thing. As long as I get to live with you, that's all I care about.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
Interesting. Got any other thoughts, or is that?
I think that's good.
I hope that was helpful. We kind of did a rant about all the options, but it's hard.
It's just interesting to like open up the options, really, isn't it? And you never know, like the person that wrote in might not have thought of half of them, because like it's very easy to just get stuck in your concerned circle and just spiral in that, you know. So.
Hope you find a solution. Let us know. I wish there was another box where they could like
let us know. You can just write another thingy. Yeah, cool.
Is that it? Have we?
I think so. Where are we at?
57 minutes.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yep. Thanks for writing in. We've got more questions, but we've run out of time, so we'll do some more next week.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, chuck more in. We're sort of making a list of the ones that are going to be...
Yeah, we're not ignoring any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Love ya.
Love you too.
Thanks for doing this with me.
Fist bump.
I thought you were going to do this.
That's better.
Love to love ya.
Love to love ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.